people here. I'm at a very good angle to see everyone here. So I'm seeing some tables. Thank God you're all sitting on your tables. So I can see people from Vodacom here. I can see people from Smart Codes. I see people from Clouds. I see people from everywhere. Okay. So mpaka sasa unatafakari, unaendelea kufyonza kila kitu ambacho tumekiongea. Mimi natamani kusikia kutoka kwa watu wachache. And nitaanza na mdhamini wetu mmoja. Meza ya Vodacom wako wapi jamani? Natamani kuwatambua Vodacom. Where are you? By the show of hand. Okay. So, Madam Warda, I would love to hear from you. The future is fusion. Tumekuwa tukizoea kufanya traditional marketing, and now we are going to digital marketing. Na leo tumesikia kutoka kwa watu wachache. Naomba tusikie kutoka kwako Madam Warda. Mpaka sasa, what do you have to say?
Thank you for putting me on the spot. Exactly what's the question? What's your question?
Perspective. You've been talking a lot since morning.
Science kilichopo mkoani Ruvuma.
Your own perspective about the future is fusion. How do you combine it? How do you find it in your company?
Of course, it's important to marry digital and traditional media. We try to do that as much as possible in our campaigns. Maybe to give an example, one being when we launched 5G in Tanzania. Obviously, the technology we used there was an important aspect, but if you look from a media to the conversation post that. So I think it's important to fuse digital and traditional media to drive the conversations, to drive engagements, like previous speakers have said. With traditional media, you get reach. With digital media, you get engagement. So together, you have a more fulfilling campaign. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, let me go to this side. Looking for somebody, looking for somebody. Looking for anyone. Okay. Bank of Africa. By the show of hand, naomba tuwasalimie Bank of Africa. BOA. Hi. Okay. So from Bank of Africa, Madam Nandi. Karibu sana.
What do you want me to say?
Can it be a fusion between digital and traditional marketing? Do you apply it? How do you apply it?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Nandi Myombela. I'm from Bank of Africa. And generally, I'm very excited to be here. I think it's an exciting time. And I think if I ask any of my colleagues in marketing, we've been really trying to gather together marketing community. So I think it's high time we managed to pull this together. So I think it's a good idea because you cannot put these things separately. So you have to integrate both digital and traditional media. Essentially, like the previous speaker spoke, I think KT mentioned about it. It's very important to make sure that these two channels talk to each other. The coherency of the messaging and whatnot. So I think it's an exciting time. I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to become a digital-led marketer, which is very important. So, and kudos to the partners and the organizers. So I look forward to the sessions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I'll spare somebody. She'll come later on. She'll tell us something. I refer her as a digital marketing expert. So I'll call upon her later on. But for now, let's hear it from Stanbic. And we have a head of business and incubator at Stanbic Bank, Mr. Kai Morel. Please, you're welcome. Miss Kai Morel, excuse me. A round of applause as she comes. That will do.
Hi, everyone. Hello. Are you all disappointed because it's not Mr. Kaimola? I can be just to get you to say hi back. So hello, everyone. I'm so excited to see you all. You look incredibly well, and I am happy to wear 2 caps today. In the beginning of my career, I used to do digital communication, and now I'm here in front of you as the head of Business Incubator, and I could say that it's not quite a transformation because they all serve one purpose, which is to make an impact. So we are all here to, I believe in our respective areas, we're making impact, whether be you're marketing a good product, or you're sending a good message, or you are raising awareness from a good campaign. We're all trying to make an impact. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we do with Stanbic Mubashara Incubator, which is our impact wing of our bank, or impact unit, whereas we are focusing on entrepreneurs, innovators, as well as SMEs, MSMEs, and we're trying to enable their business success. And we're doing that with 3 approaches, I would say. The first one being we're building their capacity, whether to start their business, to run it, and to grow it and scale it. So that's the first thing we're doing with it. And well, how we're doing it, we are giving them trainings, certifications where there is need to get one, and then we're also doing coaching and mentoring. The second approach that we are doing to enable their success is we're giving them access to market. That would be to open up opportunities to opportunities that are existing in their specific industries. And then the other one, which is more exciting, is doing what you all here are doing, sort of branding them and profiling them, so their customers or their target market will find them interesting to do business with them, but also to see what kind of idea for innovators, what kind of ideal world that they're trying to create. And the third approach that sababu ya context.
Encouraging more activities other than the DJ playing. So please.
but they wanted to drive more sales with an increment of their big idea, which is happiness from a bottle. So the happiness from a bottle then spans from you sharing the Coke with somebody else. And so they created this concept called Share a Coke. And the whole idea around Share a Coke was you're able to get it online, you're able to get it offline, you're able to also interact with it from a personal level in terms of the experiences that they built. So this is a good example where the digital strategy actually led to social media engagement, but also an uplift in sales because they started the journey understanding what the big picture was. So Q. And then the second thing is your SEO. I call it the SEO treasure map. So you have your beautiful websites that you've created, and then you're using them just as pictures for information purposes. You're not using them to actively engage and interact with everything else that you're doing in terms of the keywords that you put out there. So the keywords are important, but the keywords need to reference your other activity back to the strategy. So if your strategy is not aligned, these keywords will not matter because you're not actually using them and you're using your website and other content in a very poor way. And so as a result, your website becomes the dead thing that no marketer is looking at, and you make it a tech thing. This is your home, especially from a digital perspective. Give it life. Give it life through the treasure map that is called SEO. Q. So there's an example here around HubSpot. So they decided they're going to use their inbound software. It was not just around the keywords, but they actually fashioned the keywords to generate content that was relevant to the consumer. So it's a two-way street. It's not just about putting out stuff, understanding it, but also using an understanding of the consumer feedback you're getting to tailor-make the content. So this is a good use of keywords to drive home the agenda for the brand. Q. And then I think Tracy spoke about this, social media as a part of digital marketing. So the starting point for most people who want to go into digital is to go here, which is the social media space. But social media is not just supposed to be your avenue for all things digital. It's supposed to be able to drive for you some sort of conversion, some sort of engagement, back again to the strategy. And how do you flip that with the SEO back to the communication that you put out on social media? So it becomes a powerful tool, but you need to use it well. And you can't put everything in the same place. So your post on Facebook ideally should not be the same as the post that you have on Instagram, because the content is different, the context is different. One is visually appealing. LinkedIn cannot be the same as Instagram. How? You're having a professional conversation somewhere and you're busy putting out a fun thing that happened somewhere without context. So it's just there. It's supposed to do something. So use this effectively by actually understanding each of the social media platforms and also understanding the new media platforms that come on board, because there's always something new. I think when I was working at some place, I went with a recommendation of TikTok. And somebody kicked me out and said, no, it's for the low end of the market. Guys, where is TikTok now? That was, the journey, because we understood the consumer at the point, and they were trying to do some innovative things, and we wanted to give them an innovative solution. But because the marketer was so old-fashioned, they didn't understand the context of that specific platform, they kicked out the solution that would have given them edge. So I'm urging you as marketers in the room, learn trends, follow trends, learn your platforms, use your platforms well, engage with the platforms in the right context. There's a case study around dunk in the dark. So this was at the Super Bowl. There was a blackout. This is real-time marketing. There was a blackout, and this brand decided to actually activate and say, it's okay, we're still in the dark, but you can still dunk in the dark. And the impressions were really, really amazing. Are we using real-time marketing? No, because we are tactical, because we want to use these long-term formats of content calendars that we look at only once a week, or only once a month, or every 3 months. So we lose the opportunity for it because, Q? I call this the content armor. It's one of the things we need to always think about. So yes, you have the platforms. You've understood the platforms. There's an audience that sits there. But what are you putting out there? Use your content as your armor. Use your content because content is here to stay and content is king. It's valuable, but you can also use it to captivate. You can also use it to tell your story, but you can also use it to educate. So it's what you want to do with content, but you have to be deliberate around the use of content. So again, the strategy informs what you put out there in terms of the content. So this is another case study from Red Bull. I think you all know about Red Bull. They do extreme sport. They use the extreme sport content in a very differentiated manner, and as a result of it, they've actually created a media company. Instead of it being just a brand, it's a media company that talks about extreme sports. On YouTube, they have 10 million subscribers. How many of you can boast about 10 million subscribers? We have to start thinking different. We have to start thinking how to change the brand content to make it effective for us. And then there's what everyone talks about right now. And AI has been there. I call it the AI jetpack. AI has been there. How many of you subscribe to Netflix? How come Netflix? How come it gives you recommendations? How is it effectively able to do that? It's AI. The only reason we're talking about it now is because we've been given access to it, access as marketers to play with it. So use this to tell your information, to share your information, to use your information for understanding your consumer better, to tailor-make solutions for them. So this is another survivor kit thing that we need to have. How come it gives you recommendations? How is it effectively able to do that? It's AI. Or the jetpack. The only reason we're talking about it now is because we've been given access to it. Cue the video. Access as marketers to play with it. And I had fun at this party because there were always beautiful people. Use this about Red But kids think that we need to have recommendations. It's AI. Or the jetpack. The only reason we're talking about there's another
lakini tuna
the word. We're here to figure out digital marketing together.
And then move it across, testing all those dynamics. A lot of times our testing or live period of tests were when all of us, the entire Africa was asleep. These guys were awake. So that was, as at a personal level, something attractive that this youthful team brought. A resilience and a work ethic that I haven't seen in many generations, particularly in the age that they function in. Yeah.
Why is banking necessary for the youth?
They have money. Did you know? Your money.
Is that all?
And then they need to send money across everybody else. They need to transact. Firstly, they have money, and it cannot be in just their wallets. Secondly, they are the next.
And I'm happy to announce that we have a partnership or an MOU currently with Kantar to be able to drive content effectively and actually provide solutions using research with the Kantar team. And I'm happy to ask my friend, my partner in crime, Daniel Osserman, who is the next speaker actually, to talk to you about some thoughts on what we currently have in play from just some little nuggets that he has to drive us home. So thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Seem to have been awarded a free iPhone up at the podium. This does not belong to me. I'll be returning it to one of the speakers when I come down. Great. Absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you to Beatrice for the introduction. My name is Dan Osman. I am the Chief Growth Officer for Kantar in Africa. And Kantar is a data insights consultancy, the largest in the world, with the mission of helping brands grow. If we could just move to my first slide, please. Thank you. So, yes, as I say, we are an insights consultancy who help connect brands with consumers in order to shape and grow your strategy, and your offering in order to drive growth into the future. And today I'm just going to talk through a few insights from a global study that we conduct called Media Reactions. It's in its 4th year now. It runs around the world, and the data and the trends I'm talking about are global, although we do include several African markets in the study. And I really just want to highlight 3 key areas that we see shaping the media landscape globally over the next 12 to 24 months. And then we'll dip into a few data points specifically from the Africa region that help provide a bit of contrast with what we see globally so that we can actually make some data-informed decisions. We have the mantra at Kantar that in God we trust, but all others must bring data. I think more and more as the media landscape continues to fracture, as viewers and consumers are increasingly distracted by stimulus and touch points, we need to base our decisions in well-sourced data to make sure that we maximize our impact and drive the strategies and campaigns that we're putting into the market. Next slide, please. So as I've already mentioned, our purpose is to shape the brands of tomorrow by better understanding people everywhere through data. And there are 3 trends that I'm going to talk about today before we actually go into the data. Number 1 is the fracturing and simultaneous convergence of the digital and the traditional channels and touch points. I'll go into that in a little bit more detail in a moment. Next, I'll be speaking about the macro-inflationary pressures that are affecting both consumers and advertisers and causing us to radically rethink the way that we engage with each other in order to drive strategy. And then finally, we will look at the looming changes in the way data is being used in the marketing and advertising sector over the next 12 months or so that are going to completely overhaul particularly the way that we forge our online digital marketing strategies. So if we can go to the next slide, please. Yeah, so the first area I'd like to talk about is the idea of the future of viewing. So it's so interesting to hear everybody talking today about the idea of being a digital marketer or a traditional marketer. I don't believe that we are either of those 2 things. We're marketers. Digital marketing is just a new set of tools in the toolbox of the professional marketer, and we need to learn how the 2 or the different sets of tools actually interact with each other and support each other and drive synergy in order to be most effective. And what we're seeing is actually an increased blurring of the line between digital and traditional media. If we can go to the next slide, please. So based on the conversations we had as part of the Media Reaction Survey globally, which is based on actual global media data, conversations with tens of thousands of consumers, and in-depth interviews with leading marketers around the world, we're finding that particularly in the video space, there is a blurring and emerging between linear broadcast media and, between digital and traditional teams to create a one blended approach that leverages the advantages of both. Because there's actually, the second step is blended viewing strategies starting to take place in the major producers of content. So we're starting to see linear traditional broadcasters adopting the most attractive aspects of the video-on-demand model. We're seeing video-on-demand providers adapt some elements of the traditional linear model, such as status viewing sessions. They're releasing their series in slower chunks in order to ensure that they stretch out the impact over time. So we're seeing traditional and digital video offerings or business models begin to merge. And in order for marketers to be able to react to that, we need to ensure that we have the diverse skill set in order to take advantage of those changes. Next, we're seeing a growing acceptance of ad-supported tiers. So more and more consumers are saying, I'm not so interested in the subscription model. I think we'll see in a slide or two that around 22% of people globally are saying they're planning on cutting down on the number of video subscription platforms that they interact with over the next month. And they're moving more towards an acceptance of ad-supported video on demand. Now, that creates 2 interesting dynamics. One, it creates an opening for advertisers to get back in front of viewers who had entered these walled gardens, such as Netflix or Amazon Prime and so on and so forth. But it also creates the potential for a 2-tiered system in which people who can afford to do so remain insulated from advertising because they're still within subscription-based platforms. And you have a second tier of people who are actually oversubscribed with advertising because they're willing to accept advertising for content, but they become oversaturated and the impact of the content we're putting in front of them begins to diminish. So we need to be very cognizant and aware of that fact to make sure we're reaching the right consumer groups in the right way. Next is that we're seeing a significant increase in budgets for video. So we'll see later in the data sets that actually video or particularly TV broadcasting, is one of the least cost-effective ways to reach consumers, although it's highly impactful. Over 40% of the marketers that we spoke to as part of the study say they plan to increase their spend or their share of spend in video at the expense of other touch points. So we're seeing spend gravitate back towards TV, video on demand, video online, at the expense of some other touch points. And I think that creates opportunities for marketers who can stay sharp and be aware of the advantages that still remain in other, often more cost-effective touch points. And then finally, in this space, we're really seeing the growth of the gaming channel coming to the fore. So we have 3.2 billion global gamers, and these people are willing and open to being exposed to appropriate content at the right time within their gaming ecosystem. So that looks like it's one of the new frontiers, or one of the new channels that we need to be thinking about. And if you're not already actively considering the gaming channel in your media plans, you do need to start doing so, because it's emerging as a major force. So those are 5 areas of viewing trends that we expect to develop in 2023. If we go to the next slide, please. Now, all of these trends are undercut by, I think everyone's aware, a pretty extensive global, economically challenging environment, primarily driven by inflation. So both consumers and media buyers are experiencing an intense period of inflation, and it's changing behavior rapidly. If we go to the next slide, please. Number one, I've already mentioned the statistic that 22% globally are telling us they plan to actually cut back on what they're spending to view. So we're seeing people less willing to purchase subscriptions from video on demand providers. That's creating an opportunity and a threat to various business models. But it's not just consumers who are cutting back. The cost of advertising globally rose 31% in 2022, which means if budgets aren't increasing commensurately, and they're not when we speak to marketers, we need to be smarter about how we're using the money and how we're allocating it to make sure we're getting the maximum impact from the touch points and the channels that we spend, because those budgets are being forced to stretch further and further. Now, one way we can do that is by planning and strategizing with greater precision. In order to do so, we need data. We need information on our consumers. What are they watching? Where are they interacting with channels? What's appropriate content to put in front of them at certain times? What's the right format and the right design to optimize the impact of that content when you've chosen your channels? If you're not basing that in hard consumer data, you are at serious risk of wasting money and reducing impact. So I think it's something we all need to think seriously about. Next slide, please. And that's all about to get a lot harder, because the data ecosystem is about to undergo a major change. We're moving into a post-cookie world. Some people are arguing we're already in a post-cookie world. I think that's debatable. But it's really going to change the way that we're able to engage and interact with consumers, particularly in the online space. If we go to the next slide, please. I'm sure everybody here, or any professional marketer in the room, is aware that Google has been announcing and delaying their intention to turn off the cookie function that currently allows you to track consumers across their various online journeys. When that function goes, and it's currently slated for H2 2024, it's suddenly going to become an awful lot harder to engage in the kind of targeted marketing that Beatrice was speaking about during her talk. Some people will be able to do it, the Amazons of the world and so on and so forth, but for the majority of marketers, we're going to need a change of mindset around how we keep an eye on what our customers are doing online and make sure we're putting the right products and services in front of them at the right time. Now, interestingly, that's happening at a time when consumers are telling us they have very mixed views on cookies. So 46% of people claim globally that they empty their cookie caches on a regular basis. But at the same time, 54% say they actually don't mind cookies as long as it results in appropriate products and services being put in front of them at the right time and in an appropriate fashion. And they're not two mutually exclusive groups. Half of the people who say they regularly delete their cookies also say they're perfectly happy to have cookies track them around the internet if it's done appropriately. So we need to be aware that in the consumer's mind, there's kind of a conflicting attitude towards that privacy area. One trend we certainly see is that age matters in that space. So older consumers are, I think, almost twice as likely to say that they're deleting their cookie caches, whereas younger consumers, particularly those under 24, are significantly more likely to say that they're willing to trade a little bit of privacy for content and relevant offers. So again, depending on how you've segmented your offer, your target market, your target consumer, you need to be aware that that radically affects the types of channels that you can approach them with, both in the traditional and in the digital world. Finally, as the types of data we have access to change, particularly the switching off of the cookie function, we're going to need new types of data to get in front of our consumers. And I strongly believe that strong consumer research is really at the heart of understanding and developing appropriate and impactful media plans. So with those key trends outlined, I'm just going to look at a few data points from the media reaction study, and we're going to contrast Africa and the Middle East with the rest of the world. If we can go on to the next slide, please. So the slide we're looking at here is looking at the impact of media touchpoints in building long-term brand equity. The green line is specifically for the Middle East and Africa, and the grey line is the global average. So what we see is that they follow a similar pattern in terms of the order of importance, in terms of how important each media touchpoint is. But we also see some anomalies. So in Africa, the impact of TV is still about a third higher, 50% higher than it is elsewhere in the world in terms of building long-term brand equity. So TV has radically diminished in its impact on brand equity globally. It remains a very strong force in the Africa region, but it is declining. If I'd been delivering this presentation to you last year, then the number up there would have been 22% in terms of TV's impact. So it's already lost 7 points just in the last 12 months, and that downward trend will continue. We also see word of mouth and recommendation is above the global average. Then out of home, recommendation by experts, and radio is more than double the global average in terms of its impact. So we need tailored marketing and communication strategies that take into account those local nuances. This is the Africa average. If we were to break that down into individual countries, we would see a lot more nuance. East Africa in particular, radio being more impactful than in South and the West, and there's various other nuances that we could consider. If we can go on to the next slide, please. So this one's a little bit small, but it's just giving you more of the touch points in detail, and we can make this slide available to anybody who's interested in the data after the session. But I think what interests me the most is if you look at the top 10 most impactful brand building media channels, it's a really interesting mix of what we call the traditional, the digital, and the earned. And the message that really puts across to me is there's no one size fits all. You have to have an integrated strategy that combines traditional, digital, and earned touchpoints, particularly word of mouth and recommendation, if you're really going to have an impact. You'll see that quite a lot of the other stuff that's been mentioned already in some of the talks around the idea of online contacts through blogs and so on and so forth, really not driving a great deal of impact on long-term equity. So in terms of building your brand, these are the top 10 channels that you need to focus on, and it's a mix of different channel types. If we go to the next slide, please. Now, it's not just about the ability to build a brand with a channel. You also need to make sure that you're exposing consumers to your message in an appropriate way and an appropriate time. And I think the interesting takeout for me on this slide is actually not the areas where people are most receptive, it's where they're least receptive, because that's where we can do harm to our brand if we get it wrong. And what you'll see is actually a lot of this is in the digital space. So people are least receptive to receiving marketing content when they're listening to music, streaming, when they're in their social media news, when they're viewing online videos, in display, during video streaming, and also during online free mobile games. Now, these are traditionally considered some of the most powerful touch points to engage because you've got captive eyeballs, you can target, you can segment, and it's great and powerful. Consumers are telling us, if you don't do that right, you're invading my space, I am not going to thank you as a brand, and you're actually going to do harm to your positioning in the long term. So we need to be very cognizant of how our consumers feel about where we're approaching them and make sure that we do so in a fully appropriate way. If we can move on to the next slide, please. Finally, we need to think about cost effectiveness and reach. So I mentioned earlier that TV is still king when it comes to driving brand equity. It remains king in terms of reach. I think we've got 61.4% reach for TV on average when we put marketing on there. But when it actually comes to driving awareness, association, and motivation, TV underperforms a number of other much cheaper, more cost-effective channels, and we need to keep that in mind. So at the Africa level, Facebook remains the most cost-effective way to reach consumers, with the caveat consumers under the age of 40. But it's the most cost-effective when it comes to actually driving awareness of your brand, delayed association with your brand after viewing, and motivation to change behavior and interact. After that, we have point of sale and YouTube. So we're seeing a mixture of physical and digital channels again, but you really need to balance the reach question with the impact question and look at it also through the lens of receptiveness and long-term brand impact. So the three lenses I've just talked about on the previous two slides. If we can move to my final slide, please. So just 3 learnings that we take away from Africa and the Middle East, and this is really top level. There's actually over 20 key trends in the study, and they're all very much available. If anyone wants to come speak to me after the talk, I can share them with you. Number 1 is that in Africa particularly, TV, out-of-home, print and radio do continue to generate more impact compared to global norms. And relative to elsewhere in the world, TV and out-of-home remain relatively cost-effective, but it is declining rapidly. And we need to strategically prepare ourselves for that change and make sure we're ready for it. Next is that Facebook is by quite some margin still the most cost-effective paid digital touchpoint across the Africa region and is very strong at driving behavior change and motivation to interact with brands. And then finally, we're seeing significant overspend on radio investment, and we think that's probably the one area right now that's ripest for a shift or a realignment into the digital space. So there is still the mantra across marketing conferences I attend in the region that radio is king. Radio may be king, but it's in a declining state, and I think there could be some usurpers coming up. We need to be ready for that and make sure that we're shifting our spend appropriately and not over-investing in the radio platform or channel. Final slide, please. So with that, it really brings me to the end of my talk. I think I've highlighted 3 key trends that are shaping the media landscape in 2023. I provided a few data points to help you with your thinking around how you transition and integrate your digital and traditional and earned media strategies. And if anyone's interested in any more data, we have the full media reaction survey based on over 40,000 global interviews, I think, to date. And I'd be very happy to talk to anyone about it. So thank you very much for your time. Good day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel. Okay. So, huu ni muda ambao inabidi tufahamiane. Naona tumekaa sana. Inawezekana ukajikuta umetoka hapa alafu haujafahamiana hata na mtu ambaye alikuwa amekaa meza ya nyuma yako. So, get your business cards in hand. Nitakupa dakika mbili tu, utoke, usalimiane na watu. Unaweza ukasalimiana na watu 2, 3, kadri unavyoweza. Lakini, utakaporudi, nitakuuliza, alafu utaniambia kidogo kuhusu mtu ambaye umesalimiana naye. Dakika 2. So DJ play music, just 2 minutes. You'll go around. If you can talk to one person, it's okay. If you can talk to more, it's okay. But when those 2 minutes are done, nitakuuliza, alafu utaniambia kuhusu huyo mtu ambaye umeongea naye, au watu ambao umeongea nao. Get to know their names, where they're from, what they do. Okay. So, we're on. 2 minutes, we're starting. DJ, please.
Mama, to tell her that I'm falling low. And what she said, my mama, it's too early for you to fall in love. Mama, don't you worry, she's my glory, my one and only. Yeah, yeah. Mama, don't you worry, she's my glory, my one and only. Baby, this love not for me. Baby, ni kwanta aibo nankoni don Julio idlala abantwana ilabafana bekhula nge-sunlight emadilang hamba khona i-5-star sazi nekwanta ngijimisa imitha ngiyadiza bangibanga bazamile ukungiziba bangazi ngenkani Spanish pulsa sevutha bosani phela ngithi besifukuza bafuna ukuza ngazi kade ngitholaphi lethusa lokunebuza ngisuthi phela ukuzocasha ngithuthi ngithi mina owenza nalo shuti kodwa yikho iphesha yekhuthi phela uma ke ngamthemba isilulu phela ukuzocasha ngithuthi ngithi mina owenza nalo shuti mina ngiyadesha ke manje athi ngizongitesta ke manje athi ngiyangipesa ke manje abantu besisibele ngaphansi mina ngiyadesha ke manje athi ngizongitesta ke manje athi ngiyangipesa ke manje abantu besisibele ngaphansi noma ngenza ngapha nangapha 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 mina ngishaya shaya mina ngiphansi noma ngenza ngapha nangapha 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 mina ngishaya
Nishajona mpweke, ushamifika mwaya hadi napata kitete. Na baby you be proud, say you got my number. Oh yeah. Na baby you be proud, you don't got my number. Oh yeah. Haimu zako sisike, sioni I'm lonely. Baby please call me. Haimu zako sisiki, sioni I'm lonely. Baby please call me.
DJ
Baby where you are?
Fire baby
Baby where you are? 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 Baby where you are?
Daddy, me I want to chat it. Daddy, me I want to chat it. Daddy, me I want to chat it. Daddy, me I want to chat. Daddy, me I want to chat it. 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 Daddy, me I want to chat it.
Baby where you are? 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 Oh baby not the team.
Fire baby
Nahisi baridi.
DJ Diomi
Nataka kukuona.
Fire baby
Baridi. Nimechoka kukesha kama popo. Kama popo. Niso popo. Nimechoka kudanga kama popo. Kama popo. Niso popo. Na baby you be proud, say you got my number. Oh yeah.
Daddy, me I want to party. Daddy, me I want to party. Daddy, me I want to party. Daddy, me I want to party.
Oya we mwenzenu mimi sijui kutongoza, wakijipitisha na mwaga hela. Oya mwenzenu mimi sijui kutongoza, wakinifikisha na mwaga hela. Asante, 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 asante.
Dakika 2. Kwa hiyo natarajia kwamba huo umepata watu wengi zaidi. Hello, hello. Naomba turudi kwenye viti, naomba turudi kwenye viti. Naomba turudi kwenye siti zetu. Hello, hello. Naomba turudi kwenye viti, tutapata muda wa kuweza kuongea tena baadaye. Almost lunch time. So we are going to have a very good time during lunch time to catch up, get our contacts. Jules, upo wapi? We need to see. Je, watu kweli wametoka, wamefahamiana? Jules, uko wapi? Perfect. Mpe mtu mmoja hapa alafu atuambie amefahamiana na nani leo. Naomba turudi kwenye viti. Alafu tuambie umefahamiana na nani katika dakika hizi 10.
Hello.
Hi.
Jina langu naitwa Gwandumi Mpoma. I am a sales and marketing manager from Mati Super Brands Limited.
Karibu sana.
Ambayo iko Babati, Manyara, wazalishaji wa Tanzanite Premium Vodka na Strong Dry Gin.
Karibu sana. Tumeona mambo yenu hapo nje.
Asante sana. Sasa kwa dakika zile 2 ulizotupa nimekutana na Janine Details. Yeye ni sales manager wa JC Decaus na tukaweza kulink mahitaji yetu, kwa sababu sisi tunafanya rebranding ya products zetu na tunahitaji kufanya bank kubwa sana ya advertisements.
Sawa sawa.
Kampuni yao ina deal na advertisements especially upande wa billboards na wana locations katika majiji yote ya Tanzania, naongelea Mbeya, Mwanza, Arusha, Dar es Salaam. Na sisi tulikuwa na uhitaji wa kupata, of course tuna deal na suppliers wengine, lakini imekuwa opportunity kwao kuweza kunielezea, naona wako cost effective na we are looking forward to work together.
Asante sana. Naamini JC.co popote pale mlipo mmefurahi kabisa introduction yao. Beatrice, upo maeneo gani? Okay. Muulize jirani yako hapo amefahamiana na nani? Mike itatua kwa karibu kaka. Tuambie majina yako, umetokea wapi na umefahamiana na nani katika dakika hizi chache.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Noel, coming from Multi-Choice Tanzania, DSTV. I'm there, the content marketing manager. And today I had a pleasure of meeting Sebastian, who works, we can say that we are family, but then in a competition world, he was at Azam, who is handling all the events, who is the events manager there. So it has been a pleasure meeting him today. Thank you.
Perfect, perfect. Okay. Where's Jules? Yes? Please pick somebody. That is what we call caught off guard. Karibu sana, jitambulishe majina yako, unatokea wapi na umekutana na nani leo?
All right, my name is Jerry. I'm from Court Studios, and I'm really happy I met some few colleagues. I met Kai Molel from Stanbic.
Okay.
I also met Salama from NBC. I think, to mention a few, those are the people I mentioned.
Okay. Beatrice, yes please. Karibu dada, jitambulishe majina yako, umetokea wapi na umekutana na nani leo? Na unaweza ukaeleza kidogo au uliokutana nao ni kina nani, wanatokea wapi?
Jina langu naitwa Neema Palanjo, natokea Quadrant Group of Company. Siku ya leo nimekutana na Elias Karigo ambaye anatokea iStore, na pia nimekutana na Veronica ambaye anafanya event planning.
Hongera sana. Jules, where are you? Yes, yes. Please pick somebody. Karibu sana, jitambulishe, umetokea wapi na umekutana na nani leo?
Asante, kwa majina naitwa Gloria Chua, natokea Azam Media Limited. Nimekutana na watu wengi, lakini mojawapo ni Shafik ambaye ni Head of Digital kutoka Clouds Media. Nimekutana na Managing Director wa Concept pia. I think hawa wanatosha.
Sawa sawa. Beatrice, kuna watu nimewaona walikutana hapa wakafurahiana sana. Okay, yes, please. Karibu sana, jitambulishe, unatokea wapi na umekutana na nani leo?
Well, mi naitwa Salama, ni Head of Customer Experience from NBC Bank. Nimekutana na watu kama watano. One from Simplicity Company, there's other one from Raydan, na mwingine Jerry, alishaji introduce, and the manager for this dome.
Hongera sana. Yes, I saw Sia Louise here. Alifurahia sana kukutana na mtu fulani, so maybe you can tell us here.
Yeah, hi, my name is Sia Louise. I come from TCC. I think Rafia, wale nilokutana nao kwanza si wageni. Kwa hiyo you're expecting me to say nimepata wageni wawili tu.
Okay.
So I met Neema from Blue Train.
Okay.
So she manages the influencers, and they do programmatic digital marketing. So I learned something from her today. And then I met Daniel. I think he's the events manager for the hall. But congratulations to everybody and the organizers, because I've been able to connect with some really long-time friends and colleagues. Ambao mara nyingi tumeshindwa kukutana, lakini hapa tumekutana, ndo nafikiri ndo kile kicheko ulichokiona. So it's my brother Ruben, Sakri, Nawaz, Beatrice, I think, yeah, many good faces.
Hongera sana. Yeah. Now, watu wengi walikuwa wanajiuliza kwamba should I go, should I not? What is in it for me? Kwa hiyo, that's one of the reasons tumekutana hapa leo. Okay, tukiendelea na ratiba yetu, tunaye Mr. Shamsi Ramadhani ndani ya nyumba, na huyo anatoka Duka Huru, na hawa ni kati ya watu ambao wamejaribu kutumia digital marketing vizuri sana, na wameweza kufanya mambo mazuri sana kwenye ulimwengu mzima wa digital marketing. So Mr. Shamsi, karibu sana.
Mambo vipi? You all look sad and mambo vipi? Kwenye marketing and branding, there are two sentences you should remember today. If people do not know you, you fail in marketing yourself. And if they don't choose you, you fail to brand yourself. Mambo vipi? Thank you very much. Naitwa Shamsi Ramadhani, ama Duka Huru. Mimi ni one of the Tanzanians ambao nimeweza kutumia one of the channels kwenye digital marketing. I mean, social. I helped a lot of local entrepreneurs, small businesses, elevating themselves into real competition, because the real competition kwenye biashara iko at this. I'll mix the two languages. I hope it's okay, right? Thank you. Now, let me take you back in time. Wakati ule ilikuwa, if you want to do business, you need to have a potential area, like Samora Avenue. You remember those times, yeah? You have a front office, ambayo watu wanapita, they come to your office or your store and buy something. Au wanaambiana, namjua fulani bana, go and buy something, you right? So right now, tumekuwa transformed into a new era, a virtual marketplace. This virtual marketplace, we call digital, right? In virtual marketplace, customers, products, services, they are all in one place. Sasa hivi ukiingia katika digital platforms, social media platforms, websites, apps, you see there are customers there, products there, services there at one place. Here, virtual marketplace, there is one problem. The one with the upper hand here is the customer, because a customer sees you, sees them, sees him. You understand? Now, if you're not marketing good to these people, they will never choose you. Today, I want to talk about something that will change hiyo shida ya kufanya biashara kwenye digital era. And I'll be talking about something called neuromarketing. Neuromarketing ni taaluma ya kutambua saikolojia ya mteja. What trigger them to buy? What behaviors they have? Kumuelewa mteja. And hichi ni zaidi ya customer persona. Customer persona, we used to know about their ages, their behaviors, their finance. No. Neuromarketing is to understand their deep thinking, They are deep behaviors. Let me ask you something. In neuromarketing, there are 4 examples I prepared for you today. One is called treadmill, or FOMO, fear of missing out. This strategy has been implemented by iPhone. Anyone have iPhone here? Come on, don't be shy. iPhone? So iPhone has created this strategy for you to keep purchasing by creating in you a fear of missing out. So you see, there is 5, there is iPhone 6, there is iPhone 7. So you keep running. That's why it's called treadmill. You keep running, but you're not moving. So this is called the neuromarketing. All these AI algorithms, they are studying your behaviors. They are studying how you react on those posts, how you click some buttons, how you behave in social media or on digital platforms. This is called neuromarketing. Another example is called hiding in plain sight. Maybe you do this, maybe you don't know. If you go somewhere, you find some environment, some things that are convincing you to buy something, without your knowledge, that is called hiding in plain sight. Have you gone to a supermarket and find some product, have some dolls' faces, and they're smiling? Look at the cornflakes product. They are placed in the top shelves in supermarket. And those doll faces, they are smiling, but not smiling on you. They are smiling on they are looking downward like. So if you're going to shop in a supermarket, your kid will say, "Mommy, I want this one," because that doll is speaking to the kid. So that is called hiding in plain sight. Another example I want to give you today is called the right price. These are the result of neuromarketing studied from you, me, and everyone, and they come up with these strategies by understanding your psychology, your behaviors, and everything. Now, right price, if you find, Brother Ruben, if you find 5 bottles of wine, the same brand, maybe the same size, the one is $5, the other one is $10, and the other one is $20. Which one would you pick? Oh, sorry? You're buying for yourself or your spouse? Anyone? $20. So the right price method is giving you the ability to choose, but you're not choosing because we plan those prices. So everything I'm giving you as an example is called the neuromarketing. Now, namna gani tunatengeneza ile zege la Brother Ruben, maono yake? First of all, please tuwape makofi walioandaa hii forum kwa sababu Digital Marketers Tanzania tukuwa na platform ya kukutana kwa pamoja. Please, more. Hatukuwa na platform ya kukutana kwa pamoja tukabadilishana mawazo. When you talk about digital marketing, kila mtu ana chance. There are influencers there, kuna affiliators, wasanii, watu binafsi. Everyone can use digital. Kila mtu anaweza akabenefit kwenye digital. All right? So, hawa waliondoa hii platform, heshima sana kwenu. Mimi pia nimepata simu ya kuzungumza na kuwaambia kwamba it was an hustle, kuwaambia watu kwamba naacha kazi nafanya social media. They were like, unaenda kuwasitia to Facebook, are you? So right now, thanks to you mloandai kwamba I can make sense in front of you, right? So, namna gani tunatengeneza hii zege? How do we combine traditional and digital together alafu tuweze kuiperform vizuri katika biashara zetu? The previous speakers wameshasema kuhusu data. Everything you do before you create any strategy kwenye digital platform, social media, or anywhere in digital, you need to have the right data for your client. I'll give you an example. When you talk about Rolls-Royce brand, you ask Rolls-Royce, what are you selling? They're saying, we are selling a lifestyle. We're not selling vehicle. When you ask a consumer of Rolls-Royce, they say, I didn't buy a car. It's a lifestyle. They feel something. So how did Rolls-Royce become so good in selling the motor vehicles at a higher price, and you never complain? Because the way you behaved, they use that as the marketing strategy to make you feel so connected with them. Look at the Rolls-Royce promotions. They're not posting their cars. They don't do those show off, like come and check the, no. They create something called scarcity. Scarcity is FOMO, write that down, fear of missing out. They make 5 Rolls Royces a year, like 5. I'll miss this thing out, so you jump quickly and go and purchase it. Another thing, they create content that describes what we built. They are taking pictures of Rolls Royce beside private jets, beside private yachts. So you look at the picture says, this is for few people, not you. You say, no, come on, I can afford this. So you're creating that fear of missing out and you're purchasing it without complaining about the price. Guys, are we getting it? Say, yeah. Thank you. Now, how are you going to use the same method in neuromarketing to drive sales, to drive engagement in your content? First of all, study who you are dealing with. What triggers us to buy? Sisi tunazungumza kwenye soko letu la Afrika Mashariki. Apply strategy za Western, Asian, Europe, no? Apply strategies za hapa. We all know how East Africans tuna react. Ukitengeneza strategy kama ya Starbucks, Beatrice alizungumza kuhusu Starbucks. Starbucks alitengeneza strategy ya kutumia social media bila yeye kuposti wala kutumia hata 100 kwenye kuadvertise. What they did, Starbucks akawa ukienda kuchukua kahawa, wanakuuliza what's your name? You say my name is Beatrice. So they write your name like, instead of writing Beatrice, they write Tribris. So when you have the cup, you'll be like, look at these people. Like, they're calling themselves a big brand and just write my name wrong. So you take the picture and you post in social media. Yeah, you bring traffic more to the restaurant. Guys, are you feeling okay? So you can't bring that strategy right here because here you get a negativity and negativity will not bring you sales. It will bring you attention. There are different ways here. There are content that brings you value and attention, and there are content that convert people into buyers. Like, if you're posting every day about your product and services, that will bring you value. Only that. If you want to convert people into buying, you need to present a social presentation. Like, how many people have you serviced? How many people have you sell it to? So that is one of the social presentation. Another thing is, we should have, like Beatrice said, use influencers, like celebrities, and so these are some of the content that can convert people into purchasing from you. Now, when you have enough data for your people, you'll know the right language to speak for your people. Also, you'll understand what content they understand the most. Also, you'll understand which platform they're using. Like right now, everybody thinks Instagram is everything. No. Everybody thinks Facebook is everything. No. Everybody thinks if I have a website, I'll do better. No. That is not enough. You need to collect enough data to understand who are the people that I'm talking to. What are my mission? What are my vision? And which platform they're using. What language should I speak to them? Which content they understand the most. Everything I'm talking right here is called the neuromarketing. Did you get the point about neuromarketing? So that is my presentation. I don't want to bore you with a lot of information because a lot of information will make you numb. Wote mmechoka kwa sababu kila content ukiamka asubuhi content. Na kuna madaktari wako mtandaoni wanakuambia ukisikia ganzi, mguu unauma, unawashwa, una cancer. You'll be like, I feel the same way. Do I have cancer? There are a lot of information that make you numb. So not a lot of information, just few. If you get the point, that will be my time. My name is James Ramadhani. Thank you very much for listening.
Makofi tena tafadhali kwa Shamsi Ramadhan. Habari zenu jamani. Wazima. Mimi naitwa Mina Ali na nimefurahi sana kuwaona hapa. Nimefurahi kuwa hapa. Heshima kubwa kwa dada yangu Rafia ambaye alikuwa ametushikia tangu mwanzo na alikuwa na sisi. Mimi natokea Clouds FM na Clouds TV na Clouds Digital. Kwa hiyo mimi ni fusion ya traditional media pamoja na digital. media as well. Kwa mimi ni exactly ambacho tunakizungumzia siku ya leo hapa. Nafanya kazi kwenye mazingira hayo. Nina furaha sana kuwa hapa kwa sababu nimekuwa nikijaribu kufanya zaidi kwenye mitandao ya kijamii na kudeliver ujumbe huu ambao unazungumziwa leo. So I'm very happy. I see a lot of familiar faces, which means I've been in the right industry and I've been dealing with the right people. Kutoka huku, SportPesa, ndugu zangu nawaona, nawasalimia sana, Tigo family, DSTV, na heshima kwa wote ambao mko hapa. So, ukitazama mitandao ya kijamii miaka nyuma iliyopita, tulikuwa tunaambiwa ukikuta maneno labda yamesemwa mtandaoni, naambiwa maneno ya mtandaoni hayo usiajali, si ndio? Lakini leo maneno ya mtandaoni ndio kati ya maneno ambayo yanaongoza mawazo yetu ama ambayo tunaamka tunayaona kila siku. Zamani ilikuwa ngumu kuweza kupush biashara kwa namna nyingine ambayo sio traditional media. Lakini sasa hivi kupitia traditional media na digital pamoja tunaweza kuchanganya kupush biashara. Naifuata sasa hivi kwenye stage bila kupoteza wakati. Kwa kutumia digital media, watu hawa wameweza kuingiza pesa. Ni vijana tu kutoka mtaani, wengine wakiwa na elimu zao, wakaamua, you know what, we can use social media vizuri, we can utilize it, tunaweza kujulikana zaidi. Zamani ukitazama comedy ilibidi umwangalie Joti na Mpoki kwa miaka mingi, unawatazama kwenye TV. But now ukiingia kwenye social media unakutana na talent za kila aina. Watu hao wamekuwa wakitengeneza maudhui na kushare kwenye social media. Wamekuwa wakimonetize maudhui yao kwenye social media, na kupitia social media wamekuwa wakileta audience kubwa kwenye show zao. So ladies and gentlemen, naomba makofi tafadhali kwa Deo kutoka Watu Baki.
Imenye kwanza, ngoja tuone kama tuko Tanzania. Watanzania mambo vipi? Yes! Yes! I know now niko Tanzania. Ndo kawaida yetu. Unafikiri ukimwambia Mtanzania mambo vipi, sehemu kama hii atakujibu kwa nguvu? Ni watu wa wasiwasi, ni watu wa kujicheki. Naendaje hapa? Ndio nchi pekee ambao kila mtu anajiuliza hivi, kwani hapa nilipo naenda kama nani? Yes. Ni ngumu. Kila mtu ana wasiwasi, bro. Jibu tu. Wewe jamaa, wewe mwenyewe unakuwa na wasiwasi, unaona kama labda mimi sijui ujamaa atanionaje. Naomba nikwambie, na yeye anadaiwa kodi kama wewe. Hana lolote. Watanzania mambo vipi? Tunakuja. Yeah, beautiful country, beautiful people. Hilo pini liloingia nalo linaitwa Sister Bettina. I fell in love with this song in South Africa. I'm traveling now. I'm doing comedies in Africa and stuff. Yeah. Don't do that kush. Unaona ma DJ, yani watu wakicheka ndo wanaingilia. Wakinuna na yeye ananiangalia. I fell in love with that song in South Africa. Unajua ukiwa Tanzania ukaenda South Africa. Ukiwa Tanzania kabla hujaenda South Africa kuna namna unaichukulia South Africa, Unakuwa kama South Africa. When you're in Tanzania, South Africa almost feels like it's not the real Africa. South Africa feels like Africa light. Africa light hivi, yani sio yenyewe. Ila ukifika kule unagundua na wao na matatizo ya umeme kama sisi. The only thing they've done is hawaiti electricity problems kwa sababu they are a developed country. Wenyewe wanaita eti load shedding. Load shedding wapi bwana, kuna giza mkuu. So, you know, when you're in your country, it's very hard sometimes to see how beautiful your country is until you start traveling. Ndo unagundua jamani, mbona we are doing fine? I went to South Africa and these niggas were still shooting in broad daylight. Mchana watu wanalipuana. Unapigana risasi mchana kweupe, alafu hamna mtu anayehangaika kwa sababu nchi nzima iko mapiano kuliko Sister Bettina. Yani mpaka wakusikie kwamba umepigwa risasi. Sio leo. It was in South Africa where I said this. These guys are still shooting in South. Let me tell you something. Yani it feels like these guys are still stuck in Sarafina. Yani kama bado wako kwenye same kwa stimela bado wanakufa. Yakose nyama. Yeah. But as a Tanzanian, that was very confusing for me. Watu wanauana kweupe. Let me tell you something. Tanzania sio kwamba hatupigani. Tunapigana. But a Tanzanian will never fight you in the open. It doesn't mean we won't fight you. We'll fight you. But you will not know we are fighting you until you know. Until you know. Inchi bwana hii. Unaweza ukatoka una maneno yako. Sijui nini. Unajua? Sijui serikali, sijui nini. Sio kama ile. Unakwambia unaijua sana inchi ambassador. Tunakupa ubaozi kaisimulia nchi za duniani huko. Wamba Tanzania tupo, Sister Bettina. Yeah, this is a beautiful place, I'm telling you. It's a very beautiful place. Inchi mambo yamekaa kama nani. Nilienda Kenya juzi and when I got to Kenya they were telling me they actually refer to themselves as a developed country. Why? Because they have political freedom. In Kenya you can be openly politically active. Mimi nikaambia wakuu, sio kwamba Tanzania tujui siasa. We are politically active but not openly. Kwa sababu Kenya waita wanaitana maandamano, wanaposti na watu wanaenda. Sisi tunakuja ila Insta. And it's not because we are dumb. It's not because Tanzanians are dumb people. Watanzania ni wajanja. Watanzania wameshagundua kuna ukweli na kuna uhalisia. Sasa the question is, ukweli ni ukweli? Hiyo inategemeana na uhalisia. Kwa sababu kiukweli uhalisia ndio ukweli wenyewe. Lakini sasa kwa sababu ukweli unauma tuwezi kuambia ukweli wenyewe. Kwa hiyo unabaki na ukweli fulani ambao kiuhalisia hauna ukweli wowote. Hauna ukweli wowote. And some kwa mfano ukija hapa Tanzania they'll tell you the people sijui watu hawajui vitu. Watu hawajui haya. Shauri yako. Because you gotta look at things this way. Kuna ukweli na uhalisia. Baada ya uchaguzi unasikia kuna mtu anataka kumshtaki rais. Sawa, ni kweli. Bro, ni kweli katiba imeruhusu. Lakini umejaribu kuliangalia swala kiuhalisia maana yake. For those of you, naona kuna globalization in the room. I see a few white people. A round of applause kwa wageni. Yeah. White people and everybody who is not from Tanzania, welcome to Tanzania. Karibuni sana. You talk to any person who has come to Tanzania, they tell you, my God, nimeenda Serengeti. I've gone to Serengeti. I've seen the parks. I've seen the lion. I've seen whom. But oh my God, of all those things, the people. Oh my God, the people are so nice. Let me tell you something. Tanzanians are not nice. Just nice to be nice. We are nice as a foreign policy. We are not nice just to be nice. We are nice as a foreign policy. We are nice to keep the foreigners foreign. No one ukifika Tanzania, we're very quick to teach you shit. We tell you, tufundisha Kiswahili. Yeah, teach me Swahili. We teach you the same exact things every day. Jambo. Hakuna matata. Poa kichizi kama ndizi. Things that we don't speak, but we teach you that. So that when you show up with a jambo, we say foreigner. Foreigner. and don't you worry. We don't do that because we hate foreigners. We don't do that because we are not an inclusive people. We are very inclusive. We do that because we know now foreigners have their own prices in this country. This speaker might be 100,000 Tanzanian shillings, but when you show up with a jumbo, 500 Tanzanian shillings. When you wanasema jamani, these people don't know what is going on. They don't know, eh? They don't know. Yeah. So, one of the things, the reason why I came with a song is because of this conflict. I don't know if this debate is still going on. People feel like, sisi, hatuwezi kusikiza mapiano, mbona hatuna nyimbo zetu, sijui nini. Let me tell you something. Thanks to technology, if you check your phone right now, you realize kwenye playlist ya simu yako, unasikiliza nyimbo za Kiafrika zaidi kuliko unavyowasikiliza kina Chris Brown. When was the last time you listened to Bruno Mars, my sister? What does that mean? It means we are winning. As Africans, we are winning. We don't need to fight amongst each other. We are already winning. We are already listening to one another. So what needs to happen is we need to serve. The thing here is the future is fusion. Let me tell you, the future has always been fusion. Let me tell you about a man I know. Alikuwa hana radio, alikuwa hana TV, na alikuwa hana social media. But he achieved fusion. This man was called Julius Kambarage Nyerere. Now the question will be, how? How did he achieve fusion? I think fusion is not going to be achieved because of digital marketing. Fusion is not going to be achieved because of traditional marketing. Fusion is going to be achieved by care. Do you care enough? Do you really care enough to serve these people? Kwa sababu, when this country started, we were told 3 things. We're here to fight 3 things. Ujinga, maradhi, na umaskini. How is marketing doing in that? How are marketers doing in making sure that this happens? Tupo. So I feel like if we care enough, the means will manifest. Hallelujah? Amen. Amen. Now, I as an African talent, I am hoping that this thing goes well, my sister. Because if this thing doesn't go well, I got another idea. Mimi kishindikana ili jambo ili hapa la comedy likishindikana wauni, mimi naanzisha kanisa. Mimi naanzisha kanisa. Inaitwa BFGC. Baria Full Bible Gospel Church. Ilo hapo linadili na wauni tu. Inadili na wana kwa sababu Mungu anapenda wana. Ndio maana Yesu mwenyewe alikuja alikuwa anazunguka na wana. Ndio maana tunamuita Mungu mwana. Haleluya. I feel with the right marketing, that shit will work. Kwa sababu mimi nyimbo zote na gospel kanisani kwangu, ngoma tutazipiga kwa singeli nini. Ukiingia pale sifa unaambiwa alitembea juu ya maji, Yesu balia. Unaambiwa ameniponya, kaniponya wizi, nimeacha viloba. We ninalinga nina Yesu mimi. na hata muda wa sala gospel wenyewe kumshusha Roho Mtakatifu tunamshusha kwa singeli kwa sababu tunajua Roho Mtakatifu mwenyewe ni mtu wa timbwili. Unaambiwa Roho Mtakatifu ni mtu wa timbuli. Kwa hata hiyo gospel yenyewe itakaopigwa hapo ni kumshusha Roho Mtakatifu mwenyewe. Tunapiga nayo ni singeli hivyo hivyo dada yangu. Holy Ghost fire. Watu moto 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 tumewapata moto marekeke moto. na kanisa ni sadaka. So if my marketing skill is sadaka wauni wanatoa. Sema tu umepiga nyimbo gani? Na mimi nyimbo zote kali naeka mwisho. Kuombewa umeombewa na pepo limetoka, sadaka unatoa utoi, cheka unatoa utoi, sadaka unatoa utoi, cheka unatoa utoi. Ukisali dini ya masela sadaka lazima. So here's what I want you people to think about it. While I'm a piano is blowing up, people marketing and making money out of this, in our backyard, something new came out. Something of our own. Singeli kwa mfano. It came out. And let me tell you something. People think that music is dumb, but if you really think about it, those people are very smart. Singeli ndio muziki pekee ambao watu wameweza kuendesha maisha. Show vingilio bure. Muziki YouTube bure. Leo ukiangalia watu wa Singeli mbona wana maisha? Unagundua hela wanapata kwenye show. Ngoja nikwambie, show ambayo haina kiingilio haimaanishi kwamba ni show ya bure dada yangu. Kwa sababu show yote ya Singeli ni biashara kati ya watu hao. Msanii, mwimbaji, DJ na wauni. Kwa sababu if you think about it, show yote ya Singeli ina sehemu kuu mbili. Sehemu ya kwanza ni ujumbe ambao ndio wewe unaujua, ndio zile kwamba sijui nini, kisimu changu weka kwa kisimu changu line mbili kinanisevu bwana. Wana choreographers. Wewe twende Mazela, tuluke Ligoma. Twende kushoto. Twende kulia. Mikono juu, mikono juu, mikono juu. Asiyecheza Mazela apigwe na mago. Asiyecheza Mazela apigwe makofi. Kata. Sasa utaachaje kucheza? Hapo unacheza. Sasa ukicheza hapo sasa ndio mnapeleka sasa lile limewaka, mnaenda huku, mnaurudi huku, mnaenda huku, mnaurudi huku wewe, mikono juu, afu inapigwa ile wauni. Simu sasa baba, simu, Mungu wangu, simu hizo simu zinaondoka. Simu zinasepa. So that's what happens sometimes when we don't have the right minds to back our ventures kama vijana. Sometimes we have to do the necessary. And sometimes the necessary is not what you necessarily want. So I'm here. Ukiachana mambo ya kuchekesha, I am here to specifically tell you guys, although the world is connected, although leo Deo anaweza kwenda South Africa kufanya show, although leo Deo anaweza kwenda South Sudan kufanya show, yes, the connection is right. But these aspects ambazo nyinyi mnaona ni normal stuff, storytelling, sijui nini, artists don't really know this stuff. So you truly have the power ya kupambana na ujinga, umaskini na malazi kwa wasanii, doing exactly what you want. And all you have to do is care. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. My name is Deo Gratias.
Asante sana, Deo Gratias. More to come, mengi yanakuja. Naomba niwasihi mbaki hapo hapo tu na nitoe heshima kwa haraka kwa sponsors wa Tanzania Digital Marketing Summit, Clouds Media Group, waandaaji, Tanzania Marketing Science Association, Smart Cause, NIC, DSTV, Stanbic Bank, Concept, The Superdome, na wengine ambao nitaendelea kuwataja baadaye. Hivi sasa, right now it's time for lunch, and watu watakuja kwa ajili ya kusimamisha meza baada ya meza kuelekea nje for lunch. So please just sit on your seat and enjoy DJ Diomi's music as you wait for lunch. But it is now lunchtime. When we get back, we'll hear more from Shumbana from DSTV, Karimu from NIC, and Stephen Mpuya from Stanbic, and a lot more. Kwa hiyo tafadhali mubaki, twende tukale lunch ya pamoja. Please do make sure to socialize, get to know new people. And as for now, while we wait kuja kusimamishwa kwa ajili ya kuelekea lunch, please enjoy good music from DJ Diomi.
Classic music. Nobody loves you the way that I do. Nobody can love you the way that I do, yeah. Baby, nobody.